If you're involved in high-performance sports, especially something like soccer, you know the single toughest challenge.
Hmm.
It's how to keep young athletes fit, like truly fit, during a long season. How do you maintain that peak fitness without just, running them into the ground right before a game?
It's a constant tightrope walk, a total headache for strength and conditioning coaches everywhere. And the answer usually involves squeezing in some kind of really efficient extra work.
Which is usually HIIT, right? High-intensity interval training.
Exactly. And the research we are digging into today gives us some incredibly valuable and, frankly, counterintuitive data on how to get that right.
Okay, so for anyone who wants to follow along with the source material, what are we looking at?
We are reviewing an article called Effects of Two In-Season Short High-Intensity Interval Training Formats on Aerobic and Neuromuscular Performance in Young Soccer Players.
That's a mouthful.
It is. The authors are Pierros, Thomakos, Prokopis, Tsekos, and a whole team. Zacharias, Tselios, Konstantinos, Spyrou, Christos, Katsikas, Athanasios, Tsoukos, and Gregory, Bogdanis.
And where can we find this?
It was published just this year, 2024, in the Journal of Sports Science and Medicine.
Great. So our mission here, really, is to be your shortcut. We're putting two very specific, very short HIIT protocols head-to-head.
Yep.
And we need to know which one gives you the most bang for your buck. The biggest fitness gains, aerobic and power, for the lowest physical cost. Which one is the ultimate efficiency hack?
Let's find out.
So let's start with the big why. I mean, why is this extra work even necessary? You'd think with all the training and matches, they'd be fit enough.
Yeah, you'd think so, but actually no. Regular soccer training tactical drills, small-sided games, that kind of thing, it provides a really variable load.
So it's not consistent enough.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It might not be enough to maintain those really high fitness levels for every single player, especially the ones who aren't playing a full 90 minutes every week.
Ah, okay. So their fitness can actually drop off mid-season.
It absolutely can. And that's where short HIIT becomes such a powerful tool, because it is so time efficient.
How time efficient are we talking?
We're talking about sessions that take maybe 5 to 12 minutes of total work, max. It gives you this huge physiological kick without eating up time you need for recovery or tactics.
Okay, so if we're measuring that physiological kick, we need to know what they were looking at. What were the core performance metrics here?
Right, so the study really zeroed in on two pillars of soccer performance. First was aerobic fitness.
The engine.
The engine. Your ability to sustain those repeated high-intensity sprints. And they measured this with the yo-yo intermittent recovery test, level 1, the yo-yo IR1.
Which is a brilliant test, right? It's not just running till you drop. It mimics the stop-start nature of soccer perfectly. It tells you how long you can perform at match intensity.
That's it. And the second pillar was neuromuscular performance, or, raw power.
And for that?
For that, they used the counter movement jump, or CMJ. You see coaches using it all the time because it's a great, quick measure of explosive power in the lower limbs.
For jumping, sprinting, all that stuff.
All of it. But crucially, it's also a fantastic way to monitor fatigue. If an athlete's CMJ score suddenly drops, it's a big red flag that they might be tired from a previous session or game.
Got it. And who are the subjects in this experiment?
It was 26 young male soccer players, U19s, so averaging around 18 years old, from a couple of amateur youth teams.
Okay.
But what makes this study so solid is the design. They used a randomized counterbalance crossover design over 14 weeks.
Okay, let's unpack that. Crossover design sounds technical, but it's really important for the results, isn't it?
It's vital. It means they didn't just have one group do HIIT and the other do nothing.
Right.
Instead, Team A did the HIIT for the first half of the study, while Team B was the control group, just doing the normal training. Then they swapped. Team B started the HIIT, and Team A went back to being the control.
So every single player acts as their own control. That makes the results much cleaner.
Way cleaner. It gives you a much clearer picture of what the training is actually doing.
Okay, so the intervention itself. 2 sessions a week for 6 weeks. When did they actually do them? You can't just throw in a HIIT session right before a game.
No, absolutely not. They were very specific. They did them on MD+2 and MD+4.
Match day +2 and match day +4.
Exactly. So, the first and third main training days of the week, which gives you plenty of recovery time before the next match.
And the effort level was standardized.
100%. The intensity for every athlete was locked in at 100% of their maximum aerobic speed, their VVO2 max. The only things that were different were the work rest times and the actual movement.
Okay, let's get into those. This is the core of the experiment. What was format 1?
So format 1 was the 10s protocol. It was 2 sets, 6 minutes each. Really simple. 10 seconds of work, then 10 seconds of just standing still, passive recovery.
And the work.
The work was just straight ahead, linear running, a long sprint, no turns, no braking.
10 on, 10 off. Very simple, very linear. So what was format 2?
Format 2 was the 15-15s protocol. Same idea, 2 6-minute sets, but this time it was 15 seconds of work, 15 seconds of rest.
And the big difference, apart from the time?
The big difference was the work itself. It was shuttle running.
Oh, okay.
So they had to run back and forth, which means a really sharp 180-degree change of direction.
So intuitively, the 15-15 sounds harder and maybe more specific to soccer.
That was the logical hypothesis, right? The thinking was, okay, both will probably boost aerobic fitness, but the 15-15, with those direction changes, that should improve power more, or at least give similar aerobic results.
But it would feel harder.
Exactly. But the data delivered a massive surprise.
Okay, this is where it gets really interesting. Let's talk aerobic improvements first. The yo-yo test scores. Did the extra training actually work at all?
Oh, it definitely worked. Big picture, yes. When the players were doing either of the HIIT protocols, their yo-yo scores improved significantly, about a 13.8% increase on average.
Compared to the control period?
Compared to the control period where their fitness just kind of stagnated or even slightly declined. So yes, supplemental training works.
But the head-to-head comparison, that was the shocker.
This was the shocker. The simpler, shorter, linear 10s-10s format was, well, it was profoundly superior.
What does that mean in real numbers? How much better was it?
The 10s-10s protocol gave them almost double the aerobic improvement.
Double.
Pretty much.
Oh, yeah.
The distance they could cover in the yo-yo test shot up by a staggering 18.5% in the 10s-10s group. Now, compare that to the 15-15s group. They only improved by 9.0%.
Wow. Okay, that's huge. You get double the results from the workout that, on paper, looks easier and less sport-specific.
Exactly.
So how on earth did the harder workout deliver half the results? That makes no sense.
This is the paradox. And to understand it, you have to look at the internal load. You have to look at what the athletes themselves reported feeling. Their RPE, the rating of perceived exertion.
And what did they say?
They said the 15-15s format felt way harder. They rated it as 6.4 out of 10. The 10s-10s, even though it was max intensity running, it only registered an RPE of 4.7. So yeah, the 15s-15s felt substantially tougher.
But this just goes against the whole no pain, no gain mantra. The workout that caused more perceived pain delivered way less gain. What's the metabolic explanation for that?
The answer is really in the physiological cost of that 15 session, that longer work interval, 15 seconds versus 10, and crucially, that 180-degree turn.
The change of direction.
Right. That turn isn't just mechanically hard. It forces this huge deceleration and then a massive reacceleration. When you do that for 15 seconds straight, you put a massive demand on your anaerobic energy system.
Okay, so you're getting a much bigger buildup of what? Lactate, that burn?
Precisely. The glycolytic pathway goes into overdrive. You're producing and accumulating a lot more metabolic byproducts. And yeah, lactate is the main one.
So the players are in that deep burn zone for longer and more intensely in the 15-15 protocol.
That's it. And here is the key scientific insight. Some research suggests that if you push lactate concentration too high, you might actually start to interfere with the very cellular changes you're trying to create.
Okay, explain that. How does too much lactate get in the way of building a bigger aerobic engine?
We're talking about something called mitochondrial biogenesis. It's basically the process where your muscle cells build more and better mitochondria.
Which are the little engine rooms for aerobic energy?
The engine rooms. But when you generate these really high levels of lactate, the whole cellular environment, the acidity, can actually trigger signals that get in the way of that building process. It sort of impairs the pathway for making new engines.
Fascinating. So by making the workout too painful, the 15-15 protocol basically put a ceiling on its own long-term aerobic benefits.
That seems to be the best explanation. The shorter linear 10s-10s format was the perfect dose. It was high intensity enough to challenge the aerobic system, but the work bouts were so short that it didn't push the players into that massive metabolic red zone.
So it was the optimal stimulus without the negative byproducts.
Exactly. It let those mitochondrial gains flourish.
That is a phenomenal insight for coaches. You're not looking for maximum suffering. You're looking for an optimal metabolic load. Okay, so what about the other pillar? Neuromuscular power, the counter movement jump.
Right.
Did the harder workout at least win there?
This is where we got a null result.
A null result.
The CMJ performance, so their jump height and power, It remained completely unchanged.
In all conditions.
In all of them. The superior 10s, the harder 15s, and the control period. No change at all.
Wait, so even the 15-15, with all that braking and accelerating, didn't provide enough of a stimulus to actually improve their jumping power?
It did not. And this is a huge takeaway for coaches. It tells us that while this kind of short HIIT is amazing for aerobic fitness, and it probably helps maintain power, it is absolutely not enough to build explosive power during the season.
So if you're a coach and you're only using this type of HIIT, your players will get fitter aerobically, but they won't get any faster or more explosive.
Not from this alone, no. You still need your dedicated power training, your plyometrics, your heavy resistance work. The stimulus is just fundamentally different. You can't get a 2-for-1 deal here.
Let's go back to that clever crossover design, with Team A and Team B swapping roles. What did that tell us about the long-term need for this training?
It showed us two things really clearly: how fast HI works, and maybe more importantly, how fast you lose it.
What do you mean?
Look at Team A. They started with the HIIT. They got that huge 18.5% boost in their yo-yo scores. But as soon as they switched to the control period, just normal training, their fitness started to progressively decrease.
So they started losing the gains they'd just made.
Almost immediately. They started sliding right back down that fitness slope. And you see the opposite with Team B. They were in the control group first, saw no change, and only got their big fitness jump after they started doing the HIE in the second half.
So this proves that this kind of training isn't just a nice to have. It's essential for just maintaining fitness.
That is the ultimate practical takeaway. The fact that fitness dropped off so quickly when the HIT was removed tells you that for these young players, 2 sessions a week isn't just for getting better. It's likely what they need just to stop getting worse during a long season. You take it out, they detrain fast.
Wow. This whole analysis has just turned a lot of intuition on its head. Harder does not equal better. And managing that internal metabolic environment is way more important than just chasing a high RPE.
Absolutely.
So to wrap this all up, the most valuable takeaway for you, the coach, the practitioner listening to this, is crystal clear. If your main goal is boosting in-season aerobic fitness for your soccer players with the least amount of physical cost,
So lower perceived exertion.
then the short, linear 10s work-to-rest ratio is the superior choice. It's not even a debate. It delivered nearly double the aerobic gains of the more complex, harder-feeling 15s protocol.
It's the efficient way to build the engine. And that leads to a really interesting final thought. The study shows us that this superior 10s protocol maintains power but doesn't build it, which leaves coaches with a really important puzzle to solve.
Which is?
What's the optimal way to integrate it all? How do you schedule this fantastic low RPE 10s aerobic work on your MG+2 and MG+4 while still finding the time and the energy for the essential power building sessions, your gym work, your plyos, without just completely overloading your players during an already tough season? Finding that perfect balance? Well, that's the challenge that remains.
That is definitely something for you to think about in your training schedule this week. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into some really cutting-edge research. And if you do want all the nuts and bolts, we highly recommend reading the full article, Effects of 2 in-season short, high-intensity interval training formats.
And remember to follow the channel and turn on your notifications. That way you won't miss out on our next deep dive into performance science.